It's the Data Break Podcast, episode 34 for the week of September 20th, 2015. I'm your host, James Lee. With me today, we have Taylor Kelsey.
Hello.
And Max Lee, no relation.
Hello.
Yeah, still gotta keep
That we
that.
catchphrase now.
Yeah, I know, right? Got a lot of news this week. We got a lot of game news, bit of tech news, just stuff like I want to look over, and lots of eSports news. So, without further ado, we'll get straight into it. Also, well, before we start, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing fine.
Pretty good. Got a lot of homework that I'm scared about doing.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm here.
Yeah.
Procrastination.
Totally worth it. So this week we have some delays, which is fine. Some Microsoft news, Steam controller images, some car news. I just want to have you guys seen this? Does it look cool to you? That's basically all I'm asking. Rainbow Six Siege, some news from there. Counter-Strike gets some big changes. Star Fox Zero gets delayed, some more delays. Another chapter in the Konami saga.
Yay.
And we'll catch up on what's happened. What latest adventures Taylor has had in Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
Weekly update.
Weekly update. We should have his own. He should have his own section at this point. I'll make a little soundboard for him. Metal Gear. So, first off, just doing tech news first. There's going to be some new service devices to be announced October 8th. So, with Windows 10, Microsoft's going to be like, oh, hey, here's some new, computers to showcase how cool our operating system is. I don't know. Do you guys see Surfaces at your schools that often? I know it's like a joke. It's almost the same as do you guys see Zunes on your campus that often? But
not that many people bring laptops and stuff to school. It's mostly pen and paper.
Okay.
For mine, I mean, most people who bring tech would usually bring laptops. I think I've seen one Surface, and that's it.
Okay. Because at my university, I'm actually fairly pleasantly surprised to see actually a lot of people using Surface Pro 3s.
Huh?
Because they're actually a really good school device, because it's like a full-fledged laptop. It's a straight up regular laptop that you could use as a regular laptop, and it's there's no compromises in terms of performance, at least for a student's needs. But it also has that pen, and it's a good size to write notes on. My physics TA actually sent us a screenshot of his Surface notes. We were doing some physics problems, and he actually sent us the answers to it, worked out, and it was a screenshot, and then he actually had used the stylus to write all the notes and equations out. It was really cool. And yeah, he uses it, and then I've had a couple friends with Surface Pro 3s. They seem pretty good for college. They're pretty good college devices, it seems. Fairly popular among students. Oh yeah, and we will get to Apple stuff later.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't see it on the notes. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought I saw iOS 8, iOS 9 news, but yeah.
I deleted that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, we'll talk about it. I mean, oh right, because wow, it's so regular to me now that I've almost ignored the fact that new Apple devices were announced since the last time we talked.
There were new Apple devices?
Well, new iterations, right?
Yeah.
iPhone, iPad, what have you. But yeah, so Surface Pro 4 probably going to be announced, released, whatever. We'll see. Well, it seems Microsoft's actually had some pretty good success with the Surface, so it's not surprising that they're not giving up on it. Steam controller images have surfaced up. Have you guys seen more Steam controller images have surfaced up? Now that we there's some comparisons between the size of the controller compared to a DualShock 3 or an Xbox 360 controller. What do you think?
I don't know, that thing looks like a batarang to me.
It kind of does. But to be honest, in terms of appearance, I don't really care. Until I could actually see how it feels, how it plays, I can't make any real judgment. Okay. Because besides that, it looks mostly like a normal controller.
That makes sense, yeah.
I don't see any reason for me to use this over the 360 gamepad I already have plugged in.
I'm thinking of just picking one up because I need a second controller anyways for all the friends I have coming over. But it also comes with Rocket League, and I've been meaning to pick up Rocket League anyways, so might as well pick that up as well for an extra $30. Additionally, there's some. Did you guys see the pictures of the Porsche Mission E and the Bugatti and the new Bugatti? The Verge posted pictures of it.
I'll have to look at the Porsche one. I did see the Bugatti.
The Bugatti looks pretty interesting because it's just like, super futuristic on the inside. By the way, that Bugatti is actually a real life version of a Gran Turismo car, which is
Wait. You mean a car started in Gran Turismo before?
No, I guarantee you, nah. I'm sure. Whoever develops Gran Turismo came up to Bugatti when they were licensing their product, because that's how you do it. That's how you license cars in video games.
Yeah.
But when they went up to Bugatti, they're like, "Hey, what do you guys got that we could put into our game?" I'm sure Bugatti was like, "Well, we're working on this new car. Why don't you guys put it in? We're almost done with it, but why don't we give you the renders and then you guys could import it into your game." That's probably what happened.
All right.
But in the actual order of release, it was video game and then car.
No, I'm sure they were working on the car already, and then when
Release.
I mean, he's asking as
yes.
he's actually releasing the vehicle.
I think you saw versions of the car in Gran Turismo first, yeah, but people would probably just write it off as it's just a concept or whatever, and it's just a video game. But turns out it's in the flesh or in the metal, whatever.
Ew, the flesh car. No,
Flesh
thank
car.
you.
Okay. The Porsche Mission E is a little interesting because it's all electric, and they're it's still a concept, but they're touting it as an all electric, and it's like they're trying to compete with Tesla, it seems, in terms of like luxury electric cars, which is really funny because these the car industry has always been like very stagnant, and then suddenly Tesla comes in and kind of just throws everyone over their heads, and he's like, "Hey, we're doing electric cars now. Hey, we're making a lot of money off these electric cars. Haha, you're not making money." And then Porsche's like, "No, I want to make money." And then they put up this concept. It's really interesting because this is the first time I've actually liked both the front and the back of a Porsche. I've never liked the back of Porsches, but
Really?
yeah, I don't know. I never liked the weird metal fins on the back.
Metal fin.
The dashboard in this car looks exactly like the dashboard of like a Daytona USA arcade cabinet, where it's so simplistic. It just has 4 circles. The Porsche Mission E, where it's just like 4 circles with different numbers on them. It just looks exactly like you could put that in an arcade cabinet.
It kind of does. I mean, they're looking for that futuristic appearance, which is very gamey.
Yeah.
As a video game, not as a meat.
Are we going to see like the same thing as we do in computer cases, where at first cases become look super aggressive and gamey, and then they become more normal basically?
It's a mock-up, so if they're gonna make the mock-up as crazy as they can.
That's true. I like the look of it though. I want to see that in the flesh, or sorry, in the metal.
In the metal.
In the metal.
I don't like that. I don't like that either.
Yeah, in real life.
Bad.
I want to see a real life rendition of that.
There you
go. Okay, off the car news, because I'm not very good with cars.
Well, me neither.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of cars, though, and Gran Turismo, Need for Speed.
Speaking of cars.
Need for Speed has been delayed for the PC. This comes as kind of a surprise because because it was slated for this year, but at least for all platforms, and especially for racing games, I think they've been pretty. Aside from the hardcore simulation games, like arcade racing games have been pretty neglected on the PC. They're just kind of straight ports, and you're like, whatever. They kind of just do whatever when it comes to the PC port. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the last PC racing game you guys have played.
Never.
No. Grand Theft Auto 5, maybe.
I would
that
doesn't a racing
count.
game.
Yeah.
I did not play it in the PC.
Yeah. Okay.
It would have been years, many years.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a Need for Speed fan. I'll admit it. So I've been playing a few of the more recent Need for Speed releases, like Hot Pursuit reboot, and then the Most Wanted reboot, and then this one's just called Need for Speed, which is really weird. But the way
ultimate reboot.
Yeah, I know.
It should be called The Need for the Speed.
The Need for the
It's
Speed.
reboot name.
Yeah.
And then it's about drugs.
Or they should just use a 4, right?
No, they should
Need
never
for
use
Speed.
a 4.
No.
That worked out well for 4.
Battlefield 4?
Or Fear.
Fear
For
yeah.
4.
For year? For year?
I'm pretty sure most of the industry has outgrown the putting 4 in the middle of a title.
It was like so dumb.
It was such a dumb title.
Yeah, hopefully we won't see that anymore. And the 3s too. I mean, the 3s are okay, but still don't like
Still
them.
a bit.
Well, I was thinking on the lines of like Too Fast, Too Furious, so Need for Speed, but
That's fine, I guess.
That's because it's
Too
that
fast is-
series knows it's stupid.
okay, yeah, that's true.
That's why it's great.
That's true. So, the reason for this delay is that they just basically wanted a better quality port out of the PC version of Need for Speed. So, they're taking this time to unlock the frame rate because the issue is, like with racing games especially, is that the physics in the game are tied to the frame rate.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why they have to lock frame rates on certain games. I know when I was playing the original Dead Space, I couldn't progress in a. Speaking of cars,
Motorcycle.
Oh crap! I know in the case of physics of like Dead Space 1, the first Dead Space, I could not get past the door because I had VSync off and the game was running way too smoothly basically, and so the physics were off that wouldn't allow me to open the door basically and progress. It was really weird.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to turn on VSync and then go through and then come and then turn it off again. Not pleasant. So that's what happens when you do a bad console port, and then now they're taking the extra time to, clean it up a bit, which I'm happy about. And that they, because I would rather a game that get delayed than we have another Arkham Knight or Battlefield 4 or many of the very bad releases we've seen in the
Arkham
past
Knight's
few years.
still not up to snuff.
No, it's not. No, it's better, but not there yet. And also there's a lot of good games coming out this year, so I'm not gonna be missing Need for Speed too much.
Except for Persona 5.
Oh,
So we have to wait till next year.
yes, Persona 5.
Coming
yeah.
out of TGS.
Yeah, that
coming out.
game.
Yeah, Tokyo Game Show announced that
Just
Persona 5 is gonna be
Taking
delayed.
away one game from the legendary 2015 year is very sad.
Yeah. Were you looking forward to Persona 5, Taylor?
I like Persona 4. I never played through all of it because I don't have the time.
Uh-huh.
But it's a good game.
What
And
type of game is it? Because like unfortunately I don't.
JRPG.
JRPG? Okay. I didn't expect you to play a JRPG, but I guess Persona 5.
I know it's
Persona
good.
4.
It's not like I've played it.
Okay.
I've seen footage of it.
Oh.
I know this. The story is insane.
Wait. So have you not actually played Persona 4 then?
I've watched like 20 hours of playthrough.
That's not the same as playing.
Well, yeah.
It's a turn-based RPG with lots of story where you click through words at the bottom of the screen. It's almost the exact same experience.
Alright.
That's like low interaction games you could probably get away with just watching a playthrough, unless there's a lot of choice involved. Like if the person you're playing has the exact same mindset as you and will take the same choices as you, that's fine.
There's really not a ton of choices in that game.
Okay.
Other than like, I'm gonna study tonight instead of go out is like one of the. That was like one of the choices, and
Straight up.
just for different stats to be better.
That's like
That
a
stuff
visual
doesn't matter.
novel type thing.
It's more of a game than that.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay, yeah. So and then before we move on to the other delay, which is Star Fox, I just want to talk about the DLC system for Need for Speed. Basically, they're saying that all the DLC will be free for Need for Speed.
Really?
Yeah, which is everyone always is really wary of DLC from EA games especially, but for Need for Speed they're like nope, all the DLC is going to be free, all the content packs.
Whatever happened to the phrase updates or free
Yeah.
updates?
I don't like Yeah, like they.
But if they say free
Or
DLC,
patch.
free
Patch.
DLC sounds like they're giving you more than just an update.
Yeah.
Yeah, when in reality, like before, this stuff would just been an update, like new expansion for free or whatever. But they're just doing this for PR then.
The day
DLC word.
The day a tech media syndicate or whatever releases a headline about a patch for a video game and refers to it as a DLC is the day gaming is dead.
I'm pretty sure gaming will be dead before then. But
yeah. But well, I mean, I'm being hyperbolic, of course, but like, you should not be confusing patches with DLC. Right.
This game-breaking bug, pay us $5 and we can.
Yeah.
Oh
God. Fix it for you.
Not fun. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for the new Need for Speed. Probably gonna pick it up. I'll give you guys my thoughts on it when that gets released. Other delays though, yeah. Other delays. Star Fox Zero will be delayed to Q1 2016. I mean, are you guys surprised? Blah blah blah. Expected.
I hope they're able to actually polish up the game by then, because the footage we've seen looks very bland.
Low fidelity. It doesn't look very good, especially for a Star Fox game where, like, as a matter of fact, Star Fox is actually basically a graphical pioneer. The original Star Fox was basically was like one of the first 3D games, like on the SNES, I believe. Yeah, so I'm hoping that they take the delay to, pretty it up a little bit. Taylor's muted for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
Turn your mic in case some random noise happens.
Ah, nice. So I don't know. Are you Taylor? Do you follow Star Fox that much or?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Never been much of a fan. I played the 64 one when I was a kid. Only got past the first level because I didn't have a memory card.
Oh no! Yeah, I didn't have a memory card in my Nintendo 64 either. I actually had to, if I was gonna beat the game, I had to beat it in one sitting. Which
have you?
I've done it. Yeah, I've done it a few times.
That game's really short. That game's pretty short.
It's short, and it's cool because you get to do. There's like a lot of different paths you could go based on how you approach certain levels and different objectives you play.
Oh.
Which is really cool. Like
the replayability?
Yeah. Like you could take a lot of different paths. Like for example, if during the first mission in Star Fox 64, if you flew through all the arches, one of your teammates would steer you a different direction to fight a different boss. And like
I never knew that.
Yeah. And then another one is like it mostly, like, a lot of them involve things like that, or doing alternate objectives where, like, if you steer this moving train. Have you ever played one of the levels you're in the Landmaster, the tank, and if you steer the train that you're chasing into like a factory and blow the entire factory and the train up at once, you go a different area, stuff like that. It's really interesting the way you could approach the campaign. Basically, I kind of miss that. I don't think they did that. They did that after Star Fox 64. The series kind of went downhill after that, to be honest.
That's
it was a weird GameCube game with like Fox Lady, and then
Star Fox Adventures. That was a weird game. Yeah.
That was not meant to be a Star Fox game.
Yeah, it didn't feel like one, and either. It
was supposed to be a completely different game, unrelated to Star Fox 40 and 64. Then the Miyamoto came by and said, "Let's turn this into a Star Fox game."
For the GameCube, yeah. But like the fact that it was not Star Fox aside, it was a pretty cool adventure game, I thought.
I would play as a kid. I never.
Yeah, it was
one part where you had to literally just mash a button in order to not fall into a pit. and I was physically incapable of mashing that button fast enough.
Oh no.
And I went to a friend's house and had his sister do it. And I thought she was like a god. Because you could mash the button fast enough, and then I don't think I ever played it after that. I think that we reached peak Star Fox Adventures there.
Yeah, no, that's about right. That game was It was cool though. There was some cool. It was frustrating, but also kind of cool. But and then after that, Star Fox Assault was also. I'm just gonna do a little brief history of Star Fox. Really, Star Fox Assault was pretty decent in my opinion. I thought it was pretty good. I think it was the closest we got to original Star Fox 64, but there was also like a lot of cool land fighting involved. Like there was like a third person shooter it was actually a third person shooter basically with a fighting thing or star fighting thing. That was pretty good, and then they released the atrocity that is Star Fox Command, which basically undid everything that Star Fox did. It was a bad time for Star Fox Command was really bad.
What did
All
it
just
do?
run together. Remember?
It basically kind of retconned everything, or in order for the series to progress, it will have to retcon the entire game because there were multiple endings.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was weird. But hopefully Star Fox Zero, I haven't seen a Star Fox game in a really long time, and I just hope they do something good with it. And hopefully this delay will, yeah.
Now your Fox is overpowered. You can just do a one frame animation. Just knocks everyone off the edge immediately. It's garbage.
Yeah, just implement shines into Star Fox. And then it'll be
it
better.
Probably would be a better game. But question: what do you feel about the fact that the shooting is done separately from the flying? As in, you move the Wii remote to the camera, and that's where it fires, as opposed to moving the wing itself to shoot.
I don't own a Wii U yet, or I don't know if I ever will. But to me, it seems just like more of Nintendo trying to force people to use their that because I feel the game would be perfectly playable just with a GameCube controller. It sounds so bad to say, just like the old way was better, but in this case, kind of true.
It really is.
I much prefer Nintendo does just classic stuff, but gotta innovate somewhere, I suppose.
Yeah.
Next down the line, Rainbow Six Siege beta's coming soon-ish. I'm not sure when the beta will be. It should be within the next month, but it will launch with 11 maps. 11 maps. Playable at day or night, destructible environments, and all the maps will be free, which is really weird, or really interesting to say the least. Like, even Counter-Strike's...
It's going to launch with 11 maps?
It will launch with 11 maps, yeah.
And why is it interesting that they're free?
Well,
it comes with the
Future
game.
maps.
All future maps will come, like the future maps will be free. Sorry, I misspoke.
Oh, you didn't say that. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know how they're going to be doing, how they're going to be making money post-release, because I guess at this point, video games can't just be released and then publishers are basically telling us that they want to make they just selling a lot of copies of one game isn't enough. They need to sell DLC. DLC is basically required in a multiplayer game at this point.
Very much.
So for them to make it free is interesting, or at least the maps. They might
Guns and cosmetics, maybe.
Probably.
Of course, that's definitely going to happen.
Because I feel like a lot of companies have felt that putting maps behind DLC is giving them a bad rep. So they want to remove that stigma.
Well, the issue with sorry to interrupt, but the issue with maps sold as DLC is that it fragments the community, and on a multiplayer game you just can't do that.
Yeah. That's why I said that gives companies a bad rep when they make maps DLC.
Exactly. Even Counter-Strike actually sells maps separately, basically, technically.
Yeah.
Right?
No, they don't.
Well,
No.
No, you're right.
The
You're
maps
right.
are free.
The maps are free now. You're right. Never mind. They used to be. You had to pay for access on official Valve servers, but
It's just the way the games are now is that the stuff you have to pay for is going to have to be, for multiplayer at least, non-essential to the experience of the game.
yeah.
Because of MOBAs really brought that trend forward.
So I mean I think that's a good thing, I guess. I mean you could it's a consistent experience throughout all players, and the only thing difference is that you look different.
Or do you have a better weapon?
Yeah. If it's if it's one of the more less, it's one of the lesser games, pay to win, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't really exist anymore, does it?
Well, for free-to-play games, it definitely exists.
It's rampant in a lot of free to play games, but now there's so many free to play games. Yeah, and many
never
free
mind.
to play
Hearthstone.
games.
Sorry.
Whoops.
Never mind. Sam Calvert said a good idea for Hearthstone. Don't call it pay to win. Call it pay to participate.
Pay to participate. Oh, is it really that bad?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Oh god.
I mean, I read a headline. I read a headline about one of the top Hearthstone players not spending a cent, but I'm hesitant to say how. I have no idea. It might have been a bullshit headline, for all I know. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention about the Steam controller. It's powered by AAA batteries or AA batteries.
Weird.
Okay.
That's a weird throwback.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it'll hold its charge. I mean, and you can plug it, and you can just plug it in. So, no worries there. Down the line, now next on the list. Oh right, so Rainbow Six Siege is going to be when the beta drops. I think Taylor, you have a key. I think.
Do.
Okay, so I guess we'll check it out and give us our thoughts. We'll give you guys our thoughts when we play it.
We'll give it to each other as well.
Yeah.
We'll give us our thoughts.
Yeah. Another game inspired that Rainbow Siege was inspired by, Counter-Strike, received a fairly substantial update today. I guess it's time for me to use the eSports intro.
Good.
Yeah. I still need to work on it. Maybe I'll contract Grant to do a better version. In the meantime, though, eSports, Counter-Strike received a fairly substantial update this week. I think it broke the record for most updates in a week. We received, I think, a total of 4 updates, 2 of them being major, and then 2 of them being bug fixes. So the first one this week was it dropped on Tuesday. Basically, honestly, when I read it on my phone, I actually let out an audible "what the hell" at work, because I couldn't believe what they just did, because they basically reworked. Or Taylor, do you want to go over it, or?
I haven't read the specific patch notes. I just know how it feels. So.
Okay. So they basically reworked the entire hitbox system. So for a long time now, Counter-Strike Global Offensive has been plagued by quote-unquote hitbox issues, which basically meant that it was hitboxes were slightly out of sync.
Where you're shooting on the character is not where it's actually registering as a hit a lot of time for specific animations.
Especially jumping.
Jumping was a huge one, also planting.
Yeah.
There are times where you can shoot a guy 6 times while he's planting the bomb and he wouldn't die because none of the bullets were technically registering.
Yeah. The community, as passionate as they are, tried looking into it, and basically at the end of the day, it was kind of broken on an inherent. It was inherently broken, meaning it was kind of like a flaw in the engine. As opposed to just some bug that could be, fixed, just one line of code that some, programmer forgot to delete or something. It's an inherent flaw in the way the game is made. So the developer, Valve, basically, they basically had to redo the entire animation system for Counter-Strike. So now all the player models move differently. If you play the game now, you'll notice that like when you pull out weapons in third person, like
It's really weird.
it's really different. Like you kind of flip out your gun now, or my favorite one is when the terrorists hold like the Uzi, the MAC-10.
Yeah.
They hold it with one hand at like an angle, kind of like a gangster. It's really cool. And then there's like these weird when you defuse bombs now, wires come out of your player model, and then they attach to the bomb.
It looks really goofy.
Well,
weirdly goofy.
Well, the first update made it look really goofy because the wires were just really thick and just really disproportionately large, and they looked really funny. But the later
and
update,
they like dangle. If you move it around a little bit, they kind of fly around like a little cord would.
Yeah, they're like multimeter cords. And so, and a later update kind of fixed the size of those, so they look a little bit less goofy now. Which changes, but these as small as it is, as small as of detail as it is, it changes the meta of the game.
It has the gameplay relevance to it.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in a sec when I talk about the other changes. So basically, the hitboxes are no longer hitboxes; they're more like hit bubbles. Basically where you get hit is like not a box; it's more like a bubble, so it's a little bit more accurate. It adheres to the player model more than the boxes did.
Yeah.
So it's
actually to size.
Yeah, so it's when you hit someone, it's more accurate. I've played a little bit, and it does seem that I'm hitting my shots a lot better, but it does. I guess it does make a difference. And you've seen a lot. You'll see a lot of videos of people actually landing shots on people that are jumping.
All right.
Which is good.
And it seems like it should have been there forever ago.
Yeah, but
it's crazy how long it took them to fix this.
Yeah, but I mean, how long does it take for probably half dozen or 1 dozen staff to basically redo all the player models, right?
Yeah.
And animations, it's no small feat. So I understand why they took so long, but it's finally here, so that's good. The other significant update was that they basically nerfed one of the weapons in the game, the most popular counter-terrorist weapon, the M4A1S. So the silenced M4, 20 rounds, 40 bullets total, I want to say. Or is it 60 bullets total?
60 total.
60 total? Okay. But 20 rounds per magazine. And they basically just made it slower. The rate of fire slower. They're supposed to make it also hit less hard, but they haven't been able to implement that yet.
They did.
Well, they implemented it, I think, but like it's not actually doing anything. Does that make sense? It's like in the patch notes they said that they adjusted the penetration values
but they actually put another patch out to fix it.
Did it fix it yet?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess now that's resolved. So now the M4A1S is actually a really weak gun. Because
it's still good.
It's still
pros. I watched a pro match today where one team was entirely M4A4s, which is the other option. There's still people using A1 though, so
really?
It's not like it's complete garbage.
Okay, I'm wondering because how much of that is them just like being stubborn and they haven't learned the A4 yet, and how much of it is like they actually still prefer, like they actually still think it's good enough to the point where they could use it still. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a few weeks ago I was complaining about the lack of meta changes for Counter-Strike. So this is a healthy meta change. So like we talked earlier about the cables coming out of the player model when they were defusing a bomb. So Taylor, do you want to go over why this is so important to the meta?
Because there is some angles in which before you can defuse and making the other person have to physically look at you if you're defusing to make sure that you're not faking it. But now in a lot of angles you can see that there's cords there, so that means that they're still defusing and not faking it.
So so for example, if let's say you're the terrorist and you plant the bomb like next to a box, and then you go run and hide in a corner. But let's say a counter terrorist is on the other side of that box, and then they start defusing. You don't have to. Before, they could probably defuse the bomb without you like checking. Well, like even though you're looking at the bomb, even if you have eyes on the bomb, the counter terrorist would be able to defuse the bomb without you looking at the seeing the counter terrorist, because there was no cables like actually touching the thing. It was just kind of like you holding your knife and then kind of hovering over it like a campfire, and then boom, bomb defused. But now with the cables, you could tell, basically what Taylor said. It basically kind of nerfs fake diffuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not that big of a change. It's only very specific spots, like on cobblestone.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
a lot of the times it's still pretty easy to determine whether or not they're faking it and play off from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot. I mean, I would say it's a lot of different situations. Like I guess on Dust 2, if you say you plant behind a box and then you're the terrorist and you have like a sniper rifle and you're pointing it at the site from tunnels, and then a counter terrorist hides behind that box and tries defusing, you could tell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a pretty significant meta change, and it's funny because it's such a small change. These two changes are fairly small. It's just like this weapon is a little bit weaker now, and then there's wires, and then now it's just like completely new game in terms of how people will go about doing it, about playing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It remains to be seen how the long-term effects, because this update was released this week, and there was a tournament that played this week, and I saw way more M4A4s than before the patch.
Yes, definitely.
You can't deny that. Like there's a lot more, which I'm happy about because I'm a veteran M4A4 user, stuck with it even through the M4A1S meta. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Oh, also, butt plugs are now in Counter-Strike.
Clarify.
Wait. Did you say butt plugs?
Yes.
The new knife that looks suspiciously like butt plugs in each hand, one in each
daggers.
hand, dual wielding. Yeah, they're tiny. They're like short little. Just imagine a butt plug, but like a knife, and then that's basically what they are. And you hold one in each hand.
If you take a butt plug and then flatten it.
Mm-hmm. Make it made out of metal, and then sell it on the marketplace for $40.
$400.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Then yeah.
Cheaper. It's more expensive than actual butt plugs. Not that I
aren't a lot of the knives more expensive than the actual knives?
Also true.
Of course.
Because they're basically a status symbol, right?
Yeah.
So that's Counter-Strike news this week.
And the new case also, but
and the new case.
Which is the knife is part of.
Yeah.
But it's just like kind of crazy how they always are radio silent, and then by the way, here's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, all in one week too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people were getting really you could like kind of sense the frustration in the community about the lack of updates, and it kind of got more aggressive every week. They didn't have an update, and then finally just boom, out of almost nowhere, huge
bunch
update.
Of updates.
Yeah, huge update. I still play a lot of Counter-Strike, so it's relevant to my interests. Not as much as I used to, but Next on the list, Unreal Tournament. If you guys have not been following, Unreal Tournament is now free. It's like it's based off the new Unreal 4 engine, I think, and now it is free to play. Basically,
it always was.
Yeah, we covered it many months ago, but you could just download the game right now if you wanted to and just play against other people.
Wait,
and
is it still the pre-alpha, or is it?
It's still
actual stuff.
I think it's still pre-alpha. Yeah.
Does it still take place in that white room, or is
no
there actual?
They've added maps.
It's almost entirely community driven.
Mm-hmm.
They have basically made the engine, and that's about it.
Yeah. So now there's a one of the more popular old Unreal Tournament maps. I'll admit I have not played Unreal Tournament at all as a kid, so this is all new to me. And with this alpha, there was like a small like showcase tournament, basically on the 19th, so yesterday, or maybe even earlier. I don't know. It was very recent. Must have been on. Yeah, it must have been yesterday, but they basically did this tournament, and with esports getting so big, an Unreal Tournament is traditionally a pretty like casual competitive game. I'd say it's one of like the earlier first person shooter esports. At least the format of it is.
It is more casual than Quake.
Yeah, it's really interesting though to see how this game translates into modern esports culture, basically.
Because it's such an old school game, that it's weird to try and reach for that same new esports audience.
Right. I mean, Counter-Strike did well.
It never went away, was the thing. Counter-Strike's always
true.
been there.
That's true.
And now this went away and is now coming back and trying hard for the esports. But this is like traditional old school shooter. Counter-Strike was always a one-off oddity kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just so fast-paced, like almost incomprehensibly fast-paced, that first-person shooters are already hard to watch if you haven't actually are not familiar with the game.
Valve had to be
This is
very
so
careful.
Insanely fast-paced, that in so much like verticality, weapon switches and character switches, and it's just, I don't think it's gonna succeed at all because it's hard to comprehend what's going on.
Like player switches, like switching between pairs.
Switching between the players.
All right.
Yeah, like there's almost like a technical limitation too, because in order to be able to like watch this game properly, like you have to stream it at 60 frames per second or more. Because I think we were all watching the some footage of the showcase that was recorded on like YouTube or whatever, YouTube gaming. It was in 30 frames per second, and it was just so hard to watch because it was kind of like laggy and stuttery, low frame rate, and you just can't tell what's going on. I mean, that's another thing, is that the game's just so fast paced, you can't really tell. So one of the things that makes Counter-Strike like a really good, spectator sport is how hard Valve has worked on their spectator tool. Whereas, Unreal, they're going to have to do a lot of work to their spectator tool to make the game watchable, like even like, half watchable, because the game is just so hard to watch. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, it is. It just looks chaotic.
Yeah. And especially with now that, this is coming out, we are like, next year there are going to be so many free-to-play shooters that are trying to get that esports audience. It's hard to tell who's going to come out alive.
If any of them.
If any of them, yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't even know if there's even room for a spectator esport. Like, again, Counter-Strike was always one-off in terms of first-person shooters and spectating, because just it's so hard to watch a first-person shooter. Like, in MOBAs, it's easy to watch because you get an overhead view, and that's what the players see as well.
It's the same view that you get in actual sports.
Yeah, that's the same view you get in an actual sport.
It's immediately relatable.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm looking over this field, looking at the players on the field doing everything.
As opposed to the first-person shooter, it's a different perspective. And even if you tried to do an overhead view of a first-person shooter, you wouldn't be able to get a scope of how much skill is involved in playing that game. Like, you could if you watch like one of the some of the best Counter-Strike plays, if you watch it from an overhead view, it's like, oh yeah, he just like looked at that guy and then he shot him and he died. Not wow, I can't believe he got him at that angle. It's just way harder to get a sense of skill when you're in an overhead view for a first-person shooter. That being said, though, the format of Unreal Tournament is capture the flag, so it does allow for a little bit more freedom in terms of movement. Like, you could just kind of watch all the players kind of like go towards one side to the other and watch, and the movement in Unreal is a lot different too. Like they're moving much faster than Counter-Strike players are, and so it's still impressive to watch the players zip around the field. So like it's.
I mean, you can understand how hard it is, but enjoying it is way different.
Yeah, that's also true. So I don't. Because all these games look really good though. That's the other thing is all these games look really fun to play. Unreal is Unreal, and it's of course it's been kind of like a staple of first-person shooters, so it must be fun. And then we have Overwatch, which looks fantastic. And then Dirty Bomb, I'm still playing on a pretty semi-regular basis, and I have enough fun with that. And then there's like still a plethora of other similar games to come out. It's just hard to see.
Also, Doom.
Doom I feel is going to be more of a casual game.
I suppose so.
It won't be very eSports heavy. And these games look like they're kind of targeting it, which is, we've said literally every week for the past 3 weeks, not the best way to go about fostering an esports scene. So it's just kind of hard to say who's going to come out alive, other than Counter-Strike, of course,
because it's already established.
It's already there. So that's probably our esports rundown. And I think we're almost done with. Oh well, Max, do you want to talk about
upcoming FPS?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mid-Air, the spiritual successor to Tribes.
Right. Last week we talked about Tribes getting an update. Yeah, Tribes Ascend getting an update, and now
this one seems to be more influenced by the older Tribes, Tribes 1 and 2, not Tribes 3, which was the least liked one. It basically looks like the old Tribes, large maps, bunch of hills. You get your spin fuser that the rocket launcher that shoots a spinning disc. Over, let's see, colors, much more colorful, much more minimalist-ish. However, the problem is, I don't know if this is because the player sucks, or if it's an actual game thing, but the physics feel incredibly sluggish and floaty.
Yeah, they look really floaty.
As if the air is water.
Yeah.
And if that's going to stay that way, if the actual physics are that way, then the game is going to be a failure from the very beginning. Because Tribes needs to feel smooth. It needs to feel like you're flying through the air at 500 miles per hour. But this one does not look like it at all.
Yeah, I can't see. Unfortunately, I can't see this game being particularly popular, I must say. Just this iteration of Tribes, I don't like. It's a cool experiment, sure, but I don't really see it catching on. Do you, Max, or do you disagree?
No, I pretty much agree. There was like only, I believe, one Tribes fan game that actually had a decent success, although it was completely free to play, so that might have been part of it. But the others, they died, and I only heard of them years after they died. Let's see, the original Tribes, they're already pretty much dead. So for the fan games, they're not going to make much money off of it.
Yeah, okay. Any Smash news this week?
Not that I know of.
Nope.
Okay. I heard there's like a DreamHack tournament for Smash.
Yeah, it's happening right now. I mean, there's tournaments all the time.
Okay.
So can't really report
Okay.
on a tournament's happening.
Okay. All right. So I guess that's esports for this week. I think we're almost done. Oh, let's talk about the Apple stuff. Taylor, do you want to give us a rundown of the Apple stuff?
So I was mostly want to talk about the video game side of this.
Oh, really?
Because there's always been rumors about Apple's like they're gonna have the Apple controller. They're gonna really go after the market of video games, and this is their biggest foray into it yet, and it's basically nothing. Where the new Apple TV is basically gonna have an app store on it, just like the phones do.
Okay.
And they have released 3 games for it so far. Not released, announced. One of them being, I think it was Transistor.
Oh,
What?
Mm-hmm.
they released Transistor on the App Store.
Oh, yes.
For
They
the,
did. Yeah, Transistor is on iOS now.
and for the Apple TV.
Yeah.
Whenever that one comes out.
That's a great game to put on the TV because as playable as Transistor and Bastion are on iOS and on your phone and on your iPad or whatever, putting it on a larger screen does it much more justice because the art is just really good.
They announced Beat Sports, which is basically Wii Sports made by Harmonix that is also rhythm based a little bit, music based. And the controller technically has the capabilities of a Wiimote for that kind of stuff, so it's almost exactly Wii Sports.
Yeah.
And then third one is Crossy Road. It's just almost a direct port of the iPhone game.
Question about the controller: is it going to be like the Wii Motion Plus or like the old Wii controller in which you waggle it around and that's it?
How is Wii Motion Plus different?
Okay, let's see. With the original Wii remote, there was no real motion capabilities. Sure, you could aim at a screen, but actual movement, but actual movement was just waggling the thing. While with Wii Motion Plus, it actually reads the movements your Wii remote did.
So the Wii...
I'm not sure.
So the original Wii remote did not have a gyroscope. Is that correct?
Yes.
I think there's a gyroscope in this.
Alright, okay. So it's going to be a more modern motion control. Okay.
I mean, yeah, the Wii came out in 2006, so...
Yeah, I mean, I would expect it to.
And the interesting thing about this is, remember when the iPhone came out in the App Store and everyone was like, video games, whatever, that's not a thing. Cut to now where video games on your phone, the mobile games, are all incredibly popular, so it's hard to discredit this immediately because they've already created one thing that didn't expect it to blow up at all.
It's kind of come full circle, hasn't it? It's just like you started with, games on your television, right? Playing video games on your television through a console. Then they went to your phone, and then you're playing on your phone. And then now it's gone back to the TV again?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, this is basically, it's going after the Ouya market.
Oh, yeah.
The Amazon Fire TV market, where it's just, this does everything. Video games is one of the things it does.
Mm-hmm. I have to wonder about the popularity of these games because I could see, just like you're on your TV and you're kind of bored and you want to play a video game, but you don't really want to pull out your phone for that game. So and you don't want, like, you want to play like a casual game. Like, I could see Spelunky being a pretty fun, like a pretty good title for that. If they ever got it on iOS or whatever. But I don't know who wants to play video games on their Apple TV.
Because the overlap between those two markets, it's kind of small. Like, people who want to play casual games on the go aren't exactly the people who want to sit down and play full sessions of gaming.
Yeah, I don't know who it's for.
It immediately doesn't seem like it's gonna work out, but I'm just saying you can't discredit it because it's how the App Store eventually went.
Because it's Apple, yeah. Well, not just because it's Apple, but yeah. I understand. Okay. Other Apple announcements. I know there's a new phone, new tablet.
Pencil.
Is it like a stylus?
Yes.
Right.
As much as Steve
Jobs.
There's
a quote from Steve Jobs saying he did not want there to be a stylus.
Sorry, Steve.
2 years later. 3 years later.
Yeah. Did you see that comic about the Surface, like the Surface Tension comic?
No.
It's been reposted many times, but basically it was published in I think 2010 or 2009 2012, where like Steve Ballmer like says like, "Hey guys, we have the Surface. It comes with a pen and a keyboard. It's a tablet." And then people are like, "Boo! You suck. You're just trying to copy an iPad." And then Apple announces almost the exact same thing, but.
And then everyone likes it.
Mm-hmm. The issue I have with the new iPad and like just the iPad in general is that you can't really run like full programs like you could on a Surface tablet or even an Android tablet. Like there's like a lot of different more There's a bit more functionality, I think. Well, I'm not sure about the Android tablets, but like in terms of the Surface, you could run actual programs like Microsoft Word and like even play Steam games on your Surface Pro 3, but you can't really do that on an iPad. It's not running OS X or whatever. So I don't know why Apple hasn't put touchscreens on their MacBooks yet. I really don't.
Oh, that's true. They haven't.
The line between laptop and tablet is basically just completely destroyed.
Yet they want to still keep it.
They're keeping them separately. They're calling them separately, but this literally has a keyboard. Has a smart keyboard is what they're calling it for the iPad Pro.
But
they're selling a keyboard for this thing and basically making it a laptop again.
True, but it doesn't have the capability of a laptop. So,
really weird.
Trying to keep it casual, I guess.
No idea what they're trying to do. They seem to, and their ability to steal things and tell you they're innovative is really running its course.
What, are people actually starting to catch on?
I think so. I don't know, but they fucking have to. It's just a stylus and a keyboard. It's not revolutionary. These things have been around forever.
Indeed. The idea of a tablet computer, it's older than the iPad, but no one cared back then.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of almost hankering for, like, I'm almost tempted to get a tablet these days because it's just easier for me to read ebooks, just like PDFs. That's all I want. Like, all I want is like a 10-inch PDF reader that has a touchscreen. That's all. Like, and then I could kind of like scribble notes on it. That's all I need. Other than like, because I have my laptop, I have my desktop, and I have my phone, so I don't really need much more. It makes I don't know where tablets have a place other than as very glorified PDF readers for me. But I'm obviously not part of the market, so. There were other Apple announcements this week, Taylor, but like it's like, well, there's that new iPhone, but I think that's pretty old news, as far as I know. Like the camera improvements, it's a little bit faster, a little bit.
It's just standard. Things are a little bit better.
Yeah, it seems that the only iPhone announcements you have to look forward to are every other year, where they announce their next like major iteration, like this 5, 6, and then I guess 7 will be next. Do you want to talk about iOS 9 because I believe it dropped this week? I'm not sure.
I haven't installed it yet. I was told that there was new emojis, including a middle finger and a burrito. And I immediately went to install it, and then I heard that those aren't actually in it yet. So I have not really finished the process, because that's all I care about.
Burrito emojis and middle fingers.
Middle finger emoji is revolutionary.
Do you think there's going to be a controversy about that?
No. There's more offensive things on emojis.
Alright. No, I'm talking about, like, there's gonna be some, I don't know, like a helicopter parent saying that my kid shouldn't be able to send a middle finger or something like that.
If you were a helicopter parent, you would not give your kid a cell phone other than a Go phone.
Or an old Nokia, maybe?
Yeah, so I don't think emojis would be an issue at that point.
Alright.
I'm just scrolling through the emojis, and like there's cigarettes, and then there's the price of the yen going up, and there's revolvers and knives and bombs. So I think middle fingers are.
But it's all cartoony, so it's hard to take it super seriously.
Yeah.
Alright, then I guess the middle finger is pretty tame.
Are we gonna talk about the Facebook dislike button?
Ooh, yes. So Zuckerberg.
I felt slightly related because of like just his negativity thing.
Yeah. How does negativity fit into, not into technology and public domain, right?
Yeah.
So Zuckerberg, I think it was Zuckerberg who said it. He's like saying basically they're basically working on a like it's not technically a dislike button, right?
Yeah, he said that the down thumb it's not supposed to be a dislike button.
The
but
sympathy button.
It's a sympathy
Yeah.
button. So like if your friend died or something, you would click that sympathy button.
However, the thing is, I mean, go on Reddit. Even though the dislike button is supposed to be for things that are not relevant, people use it to dislike something. It's the same thing's gonna happen with Facebook, whether or not the creators wanted it to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still gonna be associated with negativity.
Negativity.
Anything negative, they'll just press that button is negative.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a weird thing because most of the time on forums and stuff where you can say yes or no, I like this or don't like this, it's with strangers. But if you're like, here mom, fuck your post. Down, I don't like this post. Person I know very well in real life instead of random people on the internet. It's a weird dynamic.
Get a call from your mother like 10 seconds later, like
Like my post right now, sir.
I will not have disliking in this household.
It's just another way for negativity on the internet, which don't we need more of that?
Yeah, I don't see why they need this in the first place. For one, I've stopped caring about Facebook enough to the point where if I don't like something, I don't really need to express my dislike. I just hide it. I just hide it from my newsfeed, and then I'm okay. I'm like, okay, life is better now. I don't have to think about it. Just pro tip in general, just like if you really dislike something, it's probably better for you to just ignore it.
Yeah.
It commits a lot less brain space to disliking things. Yeah. So I don't see why they need a dislike button or commiserate button. It's just seems very
God damn
useless
it,
to me.
dogs. You guys hear my dogs barking, right?
I could hear your dogs barking. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. I think that's it for as far as news is concerned.
Speaking
nope.
of things to dislike, Konami.
Woo! Yep.
In general.
In general. So first one is that I guess one of the lead developers for the Fox engine has left Konami, or is in the process of leaving Konami.
Because they told him that they're not going to use it anymore.
Yeah.
But apparently he's not that actually a lead developer. From what I've heard, he was put onto the team 6 months before the release of Phantom Pain. So
okay, yeah. I see.
I guess he just took the job of the previous lead developer, but wasn't the one who actually went through the biggest part of the engine's development.
Mm-hmm. This is a real shame because there are not a lot of engines out there. You have a small handful of game engines to choose from. You could choose Unity, right? I think Unity is technically an engine. Unreal,
Yes,
definitely an engine.
Unreal. You have Source. You have Frostbite, which is limited only to EA
If you're
games.
part of EA.
And then maybe a couple of other third-party ones, maybe that you don't see very often. I think what do you have? You have Ubisoft's in-house. What is it called? It's not Frostbite. It's I don't know. Hammer Engine, I think.
I
Stuff
didn't know
like
even
that.
had a name.
Something like that. You have very few game engines to choose from. The point is that because of that, performance across Anvil, that's what it's called. Yeah. Because of that, performance is actually fairly predictable across games. You could tell how if your game runs one Frostbite game really well, it probably runs all Frostbite games pretty well, unless the developer made some serious mistakes. If you run Unreal games pretty well, Unreal's a little bit different, right? Because Max, you were playing Killing Floor 2, and you got some
that run
pretty good
really well. But I'm pretty sure, but there are older Unreal Engine 3 games that ran like crap on my computer.
Okay.
Because the Unreal Engine,
it's a little bit more
lot of
flexible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's less predictable.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Never mind then. So, but I always welcome more game engines because you could do more with it. Oh yeah, there's also Bethesda's Creation Engine, which is kind of finicky.
Outdated.
Yeah. Hopefully they finally kind of ditch it, or make a new version for I don't know if they're making a new version for Fallout 4 or is it just another iteration.
I believe they're still using one of their two engines they've been using for years.
Okay, yeah, they need to make a new one soon for the next Elder Scrolls game or something.
But
So
the sadder part of this news is that it's very directly corresponds with them not using the Fox engine anymore. Is they don't need to because they're getting out of AAA development.
yeah,
Except for Pro Evolution Soccer.
yeah. It's like Konami has like I don't know someone like
Writing's
someone
been on the wall for so long.
yeah well yeah that's true at this point I'm not surprised like I was surprised that they were even coming out and saying it because I thought that was already implied. It sucks that we won't see another Fox engine based game because it looked so good and it runs so well. It's like a perfect game engine.
It's one of the best running engines for the graphical capability it has.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! And it's also wait, the guys who made the engine, are they part of Konami's American branches or the Japanese branch?
I'm pretty sure it's the I can't say.
Okay, because
I don't know.
Because Japanese games have a tendency of running like crap on PCs.
Yeah, because in Japan they kind of ignore PC gaming. Although it's gotten a little better, right?
A little bit better, but still a long way to go.
Sure.
Besides your indie scene.
Mobile dominates
Yeah.
in Asia in general, really.
Well, more in Japan than anywhere
Japan
in
is
Asia.
mostly mobile.
Yeah.
Like the majority of money, which I believe Japan makes like $4 or $5 million a day on mobile gaming.
Mm-hmm. So it's not a surprise then that Konami is getting out of AAA gaming because it's just more profitable for them to develop mobile games or pachinko.
For them it's health clubs, not really.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sure
right.
they'll just license their shit out to people to make mobile games, but
Yeah.
health clubs are their main focus. I'm pretty sure.
Japanese companies work really weirdly in terms of like where they actually make their money. For example, I know Sony makes a lot of their most of their money from like life insurance.
You
So-
say
Really?
this every time we mention any Japanese company.
That's true. That's probably
You said this before.
What?
Also
life
their
insurance.
money. Also
Yes.
their movie publishing firm.
Oh, really?
Sony Films, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't they make only 1% of their money from electronics, which is what people know Sony for?
Yeah, they actually. I think they operate mostly on a loss from their electronics. So, yeah. So, it's just business for Konami, it seems.
Unfortunately for the people who actually grew up with Konami games.
Yeah, it's like games are like the most influential but the least profitable. It's like very disproportionate.
Have they made any announcements whether or not they're going to license out their stuff?
No, I think the reason why they would not license Fox Engine is because Fox Engine was made using a lot of middleware, which is the same reason why DICE doesn't let people do modding tools basically for their Frostbite engines, because Frostbite and Fox implement a lot of third-party software. It relies on a lot of third-party software, so that means that if they want to license their engine, they have to license all the software that's associated with that engine. So
Too much money and paperwork.
yes, basically,
Or,
or it's mostly it's like legal
Right.
issues basically.
But that's not what I was asking, because I thought that was already what was going to happen with the Fox engine. But I'm talking about their video game licenses.
Oh, like Silent Hills, Metal Gear.
Silent Hill, Metal Gear, Castlevania, numerous others. Are they all just gonna die out and turn into slot machines like
Probably.
Silent Hills?
Probably.
Or license them out for mobile games.
Yeah.
Other developers.
Yeah. I mean, unless they want to pull a LucasArts and just give them away to people or sell them to people outright.
I feel like
I can't see
No,
that
they
happening.
need that for their pachinko machines. They need that brain recognition.
Yeah.
yeah, they're
It's just
less
video games
reasonable.
are such a risky business that and for them it's just hard to say let's keep making much other risks. Instead, they're just gonna make pachinko machines a lot cheaper and just almost pure profit.
Yeah.
And then Pro Evolution Soccer is just kind of always just makes money. And
It's just because it's soccer, right? It's
Yeah.
really
yeah, and it
simple.
doesn't have to be like crazy revolutionary every year or anything.
Speaking of which, actually, the PC port of Pro Evolution Soccer, or the most recent Pro Evolution Soccer, is actually based on the PS3 and Xbox 360 editions, not the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One editions.
Oh my fucking god!
Another reason to dislike Konami for their mismanagement.
Well, I'm sure that's never sells that much on the PC anyway, so it's not worth their time to.
Yeah, that's also true. The only like soccer-related games that sell well on the PC Football Manager, and maybe FIFA, if that. So I think we're finally out of news.
Metal Gear Online.
Oh, sorry. Just keeps coming. It was a busy week this week. I'm glad.
Yeah. TGS happened.
Yeah. So Metal Gear Online, Taylor, why don't you give us the rundown on what Metal Gear Online is?
So there's always, at least in Metal Gear 4, there was also Metal Gear Online, but it kind of sucked because the gameplay wasn't super great.
Mm-hmm.
But in Metal Gear Solid 5, the gameplay is actually amazing, and it just feels good to play. So it's kind of get you hyped for it, and then you watch the video, and it's even cooler because there's so many different options in the single-player game of tools and ways to do things,
mm-hmm.
and most of that is being transferred right into multiplayer.
That is so great to hear. One of my pet peeves in single-player and with multiplayer element, multiplayer games with a single-player campaign, is that the single-player campaign will often have elements that I wish were in multiplayer. And I'm glad to see that in Metal Gear.
The big thing that was a question about that was, is Fultoning gonna be in multiplayer? And it is.
How does that work? Like, tell me,
so
how does that work?
For at least they showed the team deathmatch game mode is the only thing I've seen them release any videos of.
Okay.
And
are there more game modes?
So there's tickets like in Battlefield, and if you Fulton people, then you get tickets back instead to incentivize non-lethal gameplay.
That's cool.
It looks really fucking cool. There's like four classes of infiltrator. There's a bunch of like sniper,
player
heavy
count?
weapons guy. I don't remember. I think it was like 10 on 10 or something.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
I don't think that was a specific number, but I just
it's on the higher end, I guess. Then
It was not a small squad based thing.
On a scale of Counter-Strike on a scale of Super Smash Brothers to Battlefield, it is closer to the.
On a scale
Call
of
of
Super Smash
Duty.
Brothers to MAG.
It is on the Call of Duty, and it's on Call of Duty.
A little bit larger.
Or on the scale of Super Smash
This is
Brothers
a
to
dumb
Planet
idea.
Side.
Stop saying sentences.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
These comparisons aren't working. However, I believe there are 2 videos of footage showing Metal Gear Online. The American one was scripted, felt more dynamic and such, while the Japanese one felt more like Call of Duty, in which people ran around, dolphin dived, and shot at each other.
I only watched the American one.
Yeah, so people say that, at least for the first few months, Metal Gear Online is going to be basically third-person Call of Duty, but might eventually end up more like the old Metal Gear Online, in which people are actually sneaking around and trying to disable people instead of just shooting them with a shotgun.
Mm-hmm. And there's a little bounty system, so if someone gets like 6 kills, and if you Fulton them, then you get 6 tickets back rather than the usual 1. So it's kind of mini boss situations, and they're specifically marked, and the farther you go, they could be like just marked on your mini map all the time. Which that sounds like that could be abused and not fun to play as. You never like being punished for doing well in games.
Yeah. I guess it'll remain to be seen how that turns out when does it release? Or is it already out?
Consoles in like a month, and then PC in like January.
Makes sense.
And so does it come with all?
If you own Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, then you already have it.
All right.
Cool. That's like, I'm still not used to how like this works, because I'm used to the traditional. You buy a game, it has multiplayer. You can play single player, you can play multiplayer, and then for this, it's a little bit different, where you buy a game, you play the single player, and then later multiplayer gets released.
Well, it gives you a chance to sink your teeth into the single player before you, because understanding the mechanics and the gameplay is important. So they don't need to make a huge tutorial for the multiplayer. The single player acts as that, where you have tons of experience with those systems and mechanics that it just kind of naturally transitions into the multiplayer.
And to be honest, I like that system, because in Battlefield, like I like to play the single player first, but people will always just jump into the into the multiplayer, and then so by the time you finish the single player, you could jump into multiplayer and everyone's got better weapons than you, which is another issue, but altogether.
You like the single player in Battlefield?
I'm not saying I liked it, but I like to play single player before playing the multiplayer. That's just how I always played video games. So.
Well, with Metal Gear, to my knowledge, Metal Gear Online has always been a separate client. Like, for which one? I don't know, Metal Gear Solid 3 or whatever, the first Metal Gear Online, then the 144. Okay, that's a total of 3 Metal Gear Onlines. I believe they've always been a separate disc, except for maybe 4, which could have been in the same disc as, but
then how do they have enough space for all the cutscenes?
I mean, the cutscenes are Blu-ray, so. they're not pre-rendered, of course.
Okay. Oh, they're in-engine. Okay.
Yeah, they're all in-engine, and in fact, many times you have slight
graphical glitches, I guess.
No. Slight control over the cutscenes, which is the gameplay element. Still probably more playable than, what was it called? Order 1886.
Oh, right. That was kind of fiasco, right?
Yes.
All right. Cool. Okay. I think that's it. I hope we didn't miss anything.
I don't think we have. No, we already talked about Pacific Rim.
Yeah. Okay. Oh well, just to mention it before, because I don't know if we caught it on the podcast. Pacific Rim 2 has been indefinitely delayed, but Del Toro says that he's still submitting scripts and budgets.
All right.
Into Time Warner? No, not Time Warner. Universal.
No. It was a different company. It's Lionsgate, was it?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Lionsgate sounds right. So, all right, cool. That makes it time for what have we been doing? What have we been playing, consuming, producing, etc. Oh, I should make a little soundboard for that. Maybe no. I'm bad at that. I'll make Grant do it. I'll ask Grant to do it for me. Max, what have you been playing this week?
I'm not sure if I've been playing anything.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on. More Warhammer 40k Space Marine, and that's probably it.
Okay, a little bit of Gauntlet with me earlier today.
True.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's a sale. I was considering buying both you and Ravenstorm copies of Gauntlet, and we could all play together. But
I don't really want to play Gauntlet.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. I guess I'll go next because I will. It's always good to end with Taylor's absurd stories from Metal Gear. So, played a bit more Shadowrun today, or this week. It's basically like reading a book. I learned about Japanese theater.
Great.
While playing that, it was really interesting. The characters are the stories are really cool. It's a game where you legitimately play for the story, so that's fun. That's always fun. A little bit more Deus Ex, I think, which also pretty fun. A little bit frustrating because I play stealth, and stealth is pretty frustrating, but I still like it for whatever reason.
The original or
Human Revolution?
Okay.
Yeah, going on a cyberpunk binge right now. Oh, actually, that's a good time for me to kind of talk about there's weird one of the most exciting things about Shadowrun is that it plays so well into not only its own lore but in other lore as well. As in not Shadowrun franchise. So the first thing is that when it plays into its own lore, it's really cool because in Shadowrun Dragonfall, there's this political party in Germany that's really that's mentioned every once in a while, and it's actually a pretty big plot point, but it's not really essential, and I almost ignored it, even though I kind of yeah, I'm part of this political party. Well, it's not like that. It's not really like that, but it's technically one of your teammates is part of the political party, so you're technically involved as well. So I think it was called the Flux State, right? And then I was talking to a character in Shadowrun Hong Kong, so we are literally on the other side of the world talking to some other guy, some Russian dude, and we're talking about international politics in the year 2280 or whatever. and well, it's more like 2078 or 2080 or whatever, and basically the one of the characters is like, yeah, Germany would have been a good place for Shadowrunners to live 5 years ago, but the Flux state has collapsed, and long live the new corporate state of Germany. And then, like, just like that small nod to the previous game, like, got me really excited, because I was like, wait, no, I understand what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about. It's not just random jargon thrown at me to increase immersion. I know what he's talking about. So that was a pretty cool nod, even though it was like incredibly subtle, and no one really would have made note of it other than previous players. It also lets me date the timeline of the story, because you play as different characters in each of the games. What, the Flux state, or the?
You said it allows you to date the other timelines of the story.
Ah, nice. It lets me tell where, like, when this game takes place. It takes place approximately 5 years after the previous game, even though you're a different character altogether. So it's not really related, which is cool, because you don't have to worry about ties to other characters in other games. So
you can just pick up the game.
Yeah, you can just pick up the game, which is nice. Another cool thing so the other thing is that it ties into lore from other series. So I'm currently reading Neuromancer, which is a classic cyberpunk novel by William Gibson, and when hackers talk, they talk about cyberspace and then meat space. So cyberspace is basically going on the internet and doing whatever, and then meat space is basically real life. And it was cool because in Shadowrun, I was talking to one of the NPCs, and she was like a hacker type thing, and I'm like, yeah, I like to prefer to stay in the in the cyberspace, or the matrix, I think that's what they call it, in both Neuromancer and Shadowrun. And then in meat space is just meat space. I'm like, whoa, like they use legitimate cyberpunk jargon to, and it's just very consistent throughout.
That's just a general normal culture thing. It's the same meat space.
I would guess so, but it seems pretty exclusive to cyberpunk only, I think.
I never
You've heard it? Okay.
I
never heard that relation to cyberpunk.
Oh, really?
Where have you heard the term meat space?
I listen to a lot of podcasts. You can't tell me to specifically put my finger down.
Okay, never mind then. And the other thing was, in Deus Ex, I read an article. In Deus Ex Human Revolution, I picked up one of the articles on the tables that you kind of find, and the article was talking about how in the future people would not organize under governments, they would organize under corporations. Basically talking, because corporate control is a really big theme of cyberpunk. And basically corporations controlling everything. And then in Shadowrun, it actually talks about how this person was raised in a corporate family. So basically the entire family was just under the corporation's payroll and all that. And they basically, the family was organized under the corporation as if it was part of their government neighborhood, etc. So I thought that was a pretty cool. It wasn't really a nod to that particular article in Deus Ex, but it was interesting to see that how consistent they are throughout cyberpunk worlds. Because cyberpunk in itself is kind of a really it's a really loose term to throw around, because people could just well, I don't know if that's cyberpunk or sci-fi or just real life. Yeah, it's kind of confusing to say the least, but it made sense in my head. Other than that, I played some Gauntlet, got a little further in that, and then a bit of Battlefield. Nothing needed to report there, and then Dirty Bomb, also nothing needed to report there, unfortunately. So pretty standard week for me in terms of gaming. I'm due to pick up a new game soon, but I'm not sure what. I was thinking of buying Lego Worlds this week when it's on sale, because it's on sale, but I might just pick up a Steam controller instead. Taylor, tell us, why have you been playing other than Metal Gear Solid?
Counter-Strike and Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm.
Okay.
The usual trifecta.
The usual
Yeah, I usually have a rotation of 3 games, and now it's 4 games.
Oh, I see. So, tell me what has happened in the last week in the world of Metal Gear.
I played another 15 hours, and I'm totaling like 34, 35 hours of the game with a 31% completed.
Hmm.
Which is goddamn insane. I've barely gotten anywhere in that story. I've played it for so long. But
you-
when I really... What were you gonna say?
Are you playing like more of a completionist type thing, or?
I'm playing the side quests because I really enjoyed the side quests.
Okay.
In most games, you complete the side quests for a completionist, but in this, there are a lot more short, bite-sized things where you can use all the tools to your advantage in a kind of a fun, quick, experimental way. Rather than the missions that are longer, you kind of get scared of being experimental with all your items because you don't want to have to fail and do it over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but for last week, something I wanted to talk about in last week's podcast, but I just completely slipped my mind, is that there's a custom soundtrack for the PC version of MGS5,
That's really cool.
and where it's just a folder, which is called custom soundtrack, and you can put in whatever MP3 files you want.
So, what great soundtracks have you put in there to tell?
So a lot of experimenting. It's like really fun to experiment this music and trying to figure out what create my own soundtrack that actually fits with the game.
Mm-hmm.
And Death Grips works for a lot of stuff because they're just pure aggression. It's just loud as fuck. And one of their songs, the beginning of them, is just them kind of just sounding like an engine just going ee, and just like really loud. So I clearly put that as my helicopter music for a while, of people just kind of making loud noise as a helicopter comes in to pick me up.
Mm-hmm.
And so they work for a lot of stuff. And then I found Father John Misty, kind of just like ballad style of music, works really well. Where it's just like weirdly poetic as you're just silently murdering everyone. It kind of fits perfectly.
Okay.
And then
Metal Gear.
going into slightly 80s theme to fit with the 80s soundtrack that's in the game. There's a future so bright I gotta wear shades.
Not bad.
That's a
not
fucking
bad.
good one.
That's pretty
But
good.
I'm experimenting with whatever song is playing determine how I'm playing the game.
Oh, that's
Where
That's-
if the ballads come up, then I try and be like very stealthy and not harm anyone until Death Grip comes on, and then I just start shooting everyone with my machine gun.
so you
Needlessly
basically
calling in the airstrike. Yeah.
so you basically music roleplay the game.
Not entirely. I did that for about 2 hours, but I only have like 20 songs that I put into the soundtrack so far,
Okay.
so it kind of got a little bit tiring.
That's pretty cool. That's still pretty
But-
cool though.
My greatest invention is I put the X-Files theme music as my helicopter music. So whenever the helicopter comes, picks me up, it goes, do-do-do-do. I can't do the I can't do it. But yeah,
Do, 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 do,
Yeah.
do.
It's really great.
That's really
so
funny.
good.
That's
And then-
really funny.
Another thing about the game is that a lot of times with longer games where you play the same gameplay loop over and over again, which this game has, there's maybe 7 different types of side ops
Approaches?
missions and stuff.
Okay.
More than 7 approaches. Come
Oh,
on.
okay. Yeah.
But you might fall into a rhythm of finding the one thing that you like the most and sticking with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this game actually actively combats that to make you experiment and just try to switch things up. Where it's there's infinite examples of this, but like if you're going in at nighttime more, then the enemies will have more night
Flashlights.
vision goggles.
Okay.
And if you shoot people in the head more, they have more helmets. If you sneak up to people individually and fight them, they'll go into groups more. If you use gas a lot, they have more gas masks. It's just like almost everything you do, the enemies have a counter for it
Mm-hmm.
to really help you switch it up, so you can't just do the same thing over and over again. So what I've been actively doing is trying to switch my loadout every mission, so the enemies don't get used to one thing.
Oh.
So their counters aren't as effective because they can't counter me. I'm always one step ahead of them.
You're just like double gaming the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And another part of it is you guys ever play Assassin's Creed Brotherhood?
yes, I actually
have
You
not.
can
really
send out your
enjoyed.
assassins on missions to go do stuff.
I really enjoyed like the Brotherhood aspect of Brotherhood. I just kind of
That's
having.
another element of this game.
That's really
I don't
fun.
think-
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I've ever talked about that, but that element, you can have those people do missions where they disrupt the supply chains of those counters that the enemies have.
Oh.
So they say, go and destroy the cargo hold full of helmets. so the enemies will have less helmets. It's just like everything just feeds into each other so well. It's so good.
That's so funny. That's great though. I'm so yeah.
Don't get tired of that game.
I'm not surprised. I
But
really
I
need to pick it up.
really want to beat it though.
Should we all pick it up before Metal Gear Online releases so we can play together?
You have plenty. Everyone should play this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's fucking be real here. This is a
Okay.
game everyone needs to play.
Okay. All right. I think that about wraps up our podcast this week. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I forgot to mention that I picked up my first Lego set in about like 5 years today or this week.
And now you're declaring bankruptcy because of how expensive they are.
Yes. No. Well, it was like a $30 set. Still kind of expensive for a Lego set, but I really enjoyed building it. It was like this exosuit. The story of it is that some Lego fan made some mech exosuit, right? And then people really liked the look of it, and they're just like, wow, this is so cool. This could be like a Lego set. And have you guys heard of the Lego Ideas program?
Yes.
So it's basically, like, for those who don't know, it's basically like a Kickstarter program for Legos, where people will propose sets and then people will vote on it. And if it gets over, I think, 10,000 votes, Lego will be forced to consider it, and then they will have to provide a response as to whether or not they will, make that, and provide reasons why they will or why they will not. So this person posted their mech on their website, and then everyone voted on it, and they're like, Lego just actually accepted it, which is really cool, and they released the set in the form of the exosuit. They made a couple of adjustments. I think one of the arms was using what was considered an illegal connection. So like the way they connected the bricks was not what.
What the heck is that noise?
Oh, you can hear my dog licking my face?
Yeah. That's okay. So yeah, so the website allowed people to, so Lego adjusted the mech a little bit, like the arms were made a little bit differently so that it would be more stable and be more compatible, and then a couple of adjustments here and there, and they made it look better, and then they finally released it as a set, and I finally got my hands on it, and it is probably one of the coolest Lego sets I've ever made, because it's a fan-made set. The person who built it put so much more effort into adding details and functionality to it. So now, like, every part I was building, like, had a purpose. So, like, I thought, like, wow, this is just some needless detail element. But no, it was actually, like, a limit for this joint or something like that, so it wouldn't overextend. And then...
So you're just going to go put that in the shelf right now, or...?
Put it
on the shelf?
It's sitting on my desk, and my friends messed around with it when they came over, and now it's holding a spaceman, and then it's holding a barrel in the other hand.
Okay.
They also put like there's a little turtleneck that comes with it, and they put the turtleneck in a very suggestive position over the other astronaut.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not but yeah, so it's a really great set. I would recommend picking it up if you ever wanted to pick up a Lego set.
What is it called?
It's called the exosuit. I don't know if I have the part number. I do have the part number. It is, or the set number. Oh, never mind. I don't have the set number. Huh. Interesting. But yeah, it's just called exosuit, and it's pretty cool. It comes with 2 minifigures, like classic Lego spacemen, but in a color never before seen, green. Mind blowing, I know. Green spacemen. And then one of them is a female, which is also a pretty cool nod, because they don't think the Lego spacemen were always pretty asexual. They're just blank smiles on their faces. But,
yeah.
So but this one has lipstick, so obviously she is a female.
Looking at the design, it reminds me of Bionicles.
Classic Bionicles, right? Because the
Yeah.
more recent iterations of Bionicles look more like action figures than Bionicles, which is really disappointing.
They look more like the Hero Factory stuff, which is disappointing.
Yeah, I still follow the Lego scene after all these years, which first I don't know why, but it's fun. So yeah, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. But aside from that, it's time for us to close out. So thank you for listening. Our intro, again, always provided to us by Grant Webster. His SoundCloud link is in the video description. Taylor, you can follow you can follow Taylor or myself on Twitter. I'm at the James Lee. Taylor is at TKLC. Max, who I don't know if you're producing any more YouTube videos these days.
I will be sometime in the future.
That's
probably
good.
during winter break.
Just in case you want to get ready and get those videos when they come out, do subscribe to his YouTube channel. Or you want to get caught up before they get released. His YouTube link is in the video description. Please subscribe. Also subscribe to our channel, the Data Break Podcast. And without further ado, thank you for listening. On behalf of Max, Taylor, and myself, we'll see you next time.